Alrighty, so today we are going to be talking about the Mercenary Tao Dokkan Festival exclusive banner, and more specifically, whether or not you should be summoning with your Dragon Stones on this banner. Now, there are a few interesting caveats that we have to talk about here in order to get the, maximum efficiency out of this banner, or sort of give you the best idea of what you should be doing. I think that this is actually a unique case. If you are looking to summon responsibly, I'd say it's not a good idea, but let's talk about a couple things that we should be factoring in. One, there are tickets. So with those tickets, if you are getting them from the Dokkan Day and the Seriously Serious Battles, very funny banner name, or event name, but the Seriously Serious Fight, if you are getting the tickets from that, summon on this, I believe you get 28 total summons. So just really quickly, you get 4 multis and you're good to go. If you pull Tao, W, and get up one out of there, you won, right? But if you were not lucky on the tickets, then we need to consider some other things. First and foremost is the summon point mechanic. Now, with the summon points, I think this is in the news if we were to pull this up here. The summon points do make things, I believe, a bit interesting, right? In terms of what we need to be thinking about if we put it right here. Now, with summon points, you guys can see from certain points, you're going to be able to get characters like the 10-year anniversary LRs, and you're going to need a certain amount. We're going to need 300, and on this banner, I believe we can get 90, if I'm not mistaken, or it's 30, right? It's 10 per. I did a multi on JP. Let me make sure that I am informing you in the right direction, but I think if you want to summon to get the summon points in order to be able to get a 10th anniversary LR while saving your coins, because with the new pity system, it's very hard to sort of save coins. I think that that's not a horrible idea. I think if you're just summoning with the pure intention of getting those points, that's not a really bad thought process. But if you are looking to summon for value on your Dragon Stones, I don't think that is going to be the case. So if we look at the featured units, right, we talked about predictions on who was going to be there. The only ones that I really got right were Goku Black, I guess, was on JP at this time, so I don't think we talked about him, but I know we did talk about Ginyu in the Gammas, so we got that right. Then Buhan and Topo, I don't think we talked about. Maybe I mentioned Buhan briefly for who is returning, but if you just look at this lineup, right, it's like we have to see what your EZA is before we can, the jury will be out on Ginyu, right? The Gammas are okay. I think that Yamcha, unless he EZAs, is just no good right now. Android 21, unfortunately, is not great. Goku Black, a nice character for starter players because he is a super boss's lead, but otherwise, nothing too crazy, right? Topo is okay. Buhan is, I'm not gonna say really good. He's good, right? I think Buhan works really well in some forms of content. I like his domain. I like his defensive capabilities, and I think that does have to stand for something. I do like the Buhan character. So is Buhan worth summoning on this banner? I would say no. Is Topo worth summoning for on this banner? No, right? But Mercenary Tao and General Blue, both very good. Mercenary Tao is definitely in the upper echelon of TURs. We're talking the Kid Goku level. We're talking Daima Goku. We're talking Glorio. And then we're also talking somebody like Hit, right? He's in that tier of characters, despite the Link set not being the best, right? I think that is something that is that has to get some level of recognition, right? In the way that what we are talking about, right? It's important to note that. So this is what we're looking like for the banner, and I think that that's important to talk about because it's should we be summoning for these characters if they are going to rerun, right? And again, I think the case for it is that you are just looking to acquire the summon points, right? If you are acquiring summon points, you're going to be looking pretty good for buying a future 10th anniversary LR. But I think the case against it is pretty easy, right? If you are going to be summoning on this banner, the Global Dokkan campaign is not far away, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are tired of hearing me say it, but it's just the truth, right? It's the Global Dokkan campaign is going to be much, much bigger than this. And what we are going to be expecting is basically the worldwide download celebration in this spot, and it's going to be on the level of the anniversary. So we need to be thinking about our stones that way because the potential LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku Mini or the LR Super Saiyan 4 Adult Goku that we get from Daima is going to be much bigger and much better than what this Mercenary Tao potentially could be. So just keep that in mind. I think when it comes to characters like this on the featured units, if you really want one, I think that coins are going to be a better way to go about it, right? Just going to be smarter usages for your stones in the future than this banner. But I know a lot of people in my comment section on the banner predictions were saying that this is going to be one of their favorite releases of the year. So I do completely understand where you're coming from if you are going to just be summoning for a character that you really enjoy. And I always make sure to emphasize that when I do these should you summon videos, right? Where it's like, is this character going to give you the most enjoyment playing the game that you possibly could have? If the answer is yes, then knock yourself out. You're not summoning for something that's bad for you. You're just potentially using your stones not in the most optimal way, and that is the purpose of these should you summon videos, right? It's like, is this an optimal way of using your dragon stones? 90% of the time the answer is no. You should not be using your dragon stones on banners like this, really, for TURs in general, except if it's like Saiyan Day or Golden Week, which ironically we just kind of went back to back, right? That's sort of the way that it works after anniversary. Then they hit you with 2 TUR banners that are actually really good. So that is sort of the case here with this Mercenary Tao banner. Looking at Tao himself, I guess we could talk about him for a little bit. Very, very good character, but you need to make sure that you have the units on his team in order to make him work, right? Because what you need really is a bunch of Earthred fighters. I think that's really kind of what it comes down to, because if there's a mission execution category ally on the team, all you're doing is just running 2 of this Mercenary Tao, right? Or if you're running him as a friend support, you're going to need to make sure that you have one of those. So if we look at the mission execution category, there are some characters that are going to be lining up on this banner that can line up to work with the mission execution team, right? Specifically Gamma 1 and 2. And then if we go down a little bit more, we have Ginyu and then Raditz if he were to EZA, but he's not going to be EZA, right? He would be on the banner if he was going to get an EZA. So Ginyu and his banner units, I think, are going to be pretty important for this mission execution team if we are just looking specifically at the mission execution team. But what I think really separates this, or really makes this Tao really good, is the fact that he's an Earthbred Fighters lead, right? So how does this work, and how is this important? Because if you look, what do we have here? We have the first best unit in the game, the second or third best unit in the game, right? The 5th best unit in the game. A bunch of top 10 LRs on this team, and you can run them under the Mercenary Tao leader skill, and you're also going to be getting access to a character like Glorio on the Earthbred Fighter setup. So running this Mercenary Tao like that, I think, does make for an interesting case for a character, right? Like, you really are sort of making a pretty solid team from the Mercenary Tao lead, and if you are running 2 of the Mercenary Tao, you have nothing to worry about with the mission execution category, right? So you're always going to have that intro buff, which is very important, right? If we look at Mercenary Tao getting his intro buff, the intro buff is like the bread and butter of this character, right? Because we have the extra damage reduction rate of 50%, and then on top of the baseline 30% damage reduction. I'm sure you guys know this, but 80% damage reduction is a whole lot better than 30. So that is something that you just need to keep in mind, and the way that this character is going to work, I think you actually could make a pretty cohesive team around his leader skill. So if you are somebody that does want to summon, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world if you're just going for this Tao, but again, all in is absolutely not what we can be doing at this time, right? You cannot go to 0 stones on this banner. I think that that is very important to note. Again, if you are going to get the summon points, I think that that's a completely fair case, and I wouldn't really harp on you too much for that. But when we look at the linking partners of this Mercenary Tao, I think it's important to show, because there's nothing here, right? This is a barren wasteland for linking partners, right? If we just go down the list, who can you run in any form of content right now? And the answer, aside from General Blue, who's only 3 links, is just a resounding no. All these characters here are terrible. You could argue that like Mai has her own niche usages, right? But really, like Dodoria, no, and there's just like a bunch of Rs and SRs and SSRs. It's like, this is just not a good character to be running for links, right? So the beauty of it, though, is that he is good enough to the point where you could say the links don't matter, and I'd be like, yeah, you're right. The links really are not that big of a deal. We've seen things like this in the past. If you guys specifically remember, a very infamous unit, Tech Ultimate Gohan, also did not have good links, and I did mention that on Twitter, where I'm like, listen, y'all, like, this is not the end of the world here. Gohan, we've had characters in the past with bad links that still can potentially work for this team. So that is sort of how I'm feeling right now about the banner. If you want to pick up any of the characters on the side with coins, that's completely up to you. I think that you're better off just waiting to pick up an LR with coins. But again, if Ginyu's EZA is like the best EZA TUR in the game, and he works really well with Mercenary Tao, that's a separate discussion for another time, but we are not there yet. So that's my verdict. Should you be summoning for Mercenary Tao? I don't think so. I think you should be taking advantage of your free tickets. And if you want to go beyond that just to get the summon points, go ahead and do those 3 multis and then stop there. 150 stones is a lot, but it's not going to set you back by years or anything like that. So if you want to toss a couple multis on this banner, I don't think it would be the worst idea. But just keep in mind, you are running the potential of just walking away with like a Raditz and a 21 and you're just done, right? But if the summon points are something that you care about, then I think that's a completely understandable sort of thought process there. So let me know down below what you guys think. If you did summon for Tao, how did it go? I hope you did get lucky and you got him right away. But if not, let me know as well. I did not get lucky on my tickets on JP, and for Global, I have to wait because 0 to Hero, I got to put it on camera. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you were new, and I'll see you all in the next one.